Hi TV people! So right then folks, this is the first video in the series and we are converting this commercial building. It's a former public house, as you can see, the Silver Birch, and we're turning this into 6 flats. So this is the first video in the series, but I thought it might be good to tell you, if you are doing a commercial to residential conversion or conversions of different natures and stuff, 4 key things that you need to do prior. So the first things that I've had done since I've had the keys is number 1. So shooting, number 1 is an asbestos test. If you think about it, we're going to be taking all these ceilings down, knocking all the plaster off the wall, so we need to find out if there's any asbestos inside there. This will also be required by law for the CDM rules. So we've had an asbestos check, and as you can see here, we've done some invasive stuff. We've knocked holes in the ceiling to check for asbestos in the artex, and all the way around here I'll show you different places where they've drilled holes and taken the samples to have it tested. So first thing is, number 1, asbestos. Number 2 is EPC. So the regulations for 𝗧𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗧, the building regs, has changed recently, so therefore we are trying to get a zero carbon planet, and one of those things is to operate all the SAPS calcs and all the EPC values. So when we're going to have these drawings done, we need to know how much insulation we've got to put on all the walls, or how much on the floors, how much on these floors if we need to dig them up, so that we know what we're getting right. So from a builder's perspective, I still need to know what it is, because depending on the thickness of the insulation, that also depends on the price of the project. So I can't really do an accurate schedule of works, and I don't know if it's going to pass the SAPS test to get an EPC at the end if I haven't got all these calcs. So this needs to be done at the start of the project so that I can price it correctly, and I also know what's going on there is correct, so that the end value is going to be right with an EPC rating, especially if it's going to be rented out or sold, because we want to try and aim for a C or above. So number 3 is, you've got to think of your exit votes. So if we convert this into 6 flats, although it's a conversion, you need some form of either an architect certificate, which is like a 7 or 6 year thing that they can produce. So they come out and actually sit on top of the building control and make sure that everything's right. Or you can get something like an NHBC warranty or something equivalent. And that means that they will come out as a third party and inspect what the builder's doing. So at the end of this, you get a 10-year or 7-year warranty, because the lender will want that. And number 4, we've got our little friend here, Nick, from Peak Acoustics.
Hello.
So this is for the sound test. And the reason we're having a sound test done is, again, because we're turning this into flats, all the sound stuff comes in, and these different sorts of sound. So we've got airborne sound, we've got impact sound, and we need to test it now before we do any work, so that we can work out what the decibel rating is of the floor, as an example. And it's all down to math. So if we know what the decibel rating is of the current floor by doing a test before we do anything, we can then work out what we need to do to the floor to gain the decibel rating. So we need to find out what it is first, so we can see what it's going to give us, and then we can add to it to get to the decibel rating. It's quite a simple process. So Nick here is going to give us a demonstration of all these wonderful gadgets he's got.
So this is obviously a demonstration. This isn't how you properly do it, but I'm just going to test it on the bar. This is the impact tester. So it's basically recreating footfall, and it has these 5 hammers along the bottom which test the floor, and you take measurements with your sound level meter, class 1 sound level meter, and yeah, go from there really.
So what we do is we put this on the floorboards upstairs, but obviously we'll put it on here for now.
Yeah.
He's going to press the button and we're going to watch it dance. Beautiful. So if you imagine that's upstairs, not on the floorboards, Nick would be down here then with his little test, his little microphone.
Yeah.
We'd hear that noise upstairs, and then that monitor will then give us some sort of reading when it goes back to the office on the computer software. It'll tell us what the ceiling, current ceiling makeup is actually doing with regards to deadening the sound, and that's going to give us a number. And once we get that number, we then know what we've got to add to it to get to the rating that we're trying to get to, if that makes sense, my friends.
Right, the next one's airborne testing, which is like if you've got music on upstairs, if you've got your TV on, trying to make sure that you're not impacting people below. And I'm just going to turn it up slightly, it's really loud. So
we're looking at this now. We've got a huge speaker on a bit of a stand,
Then take measurements around the speaker, take measurements in the receiving room. And just like the impact tester, it will give you a performance of airborne insulation. Right.
Cool. So that is to mimic things like your television, your stereo on upstairs in a flat or downstairs in a flat. And again, when that's going off, Nick's going around with his little probe, which is going to measure the noise, and he's going to walk around in different points of the room, and that's going to tell us what the walls are absorbing, what the floor's absorbing, what the ceilings are absorbing. So again, it gives us a number. And once we know what the number is, if we need to then go higher, we know what the materials are. So to try and explain it a bit easily, let's just say we've got to achieve 100 decibels, and we don't know how to get there because we don't know what the walls are. So let's just say we've got 20 decibels of the material on a wall. We know we've got to add 80 because we know it's 20 because we've had the test done. Same sort of principle for the floor. If we're going to try and get 100 there, and that's currently 50, we know we need to add something with 50. So each material has got its own decibel rating, which we know what it is, so we can then add it up, if that makes sense, folks. It makes sense in my head.
Same here.
So there we go. And that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
There you go, folks.
The other one is environmental sound, so that this is between floors, this is for all internal. Other one is microphones outside, measuring the outside environment and making sure that your glazing, your ventilation, things that are breaking into the property are being controlled.
There we go. So that was actually done yesterday, so we left that on overnight. So it's basically a huge dildo looking thing with a microphone on the end that's hung out of a window, and it's just recording noise consistently throughout the day, throughout the night as well, so we can work out what things are. And then again, that will give us a decibel rating. And then, like I say, we might need to have triple glazing because of the road noise, or we might just need single glazing or argon filled or all these wonderful things. Yeah. But again, we need to find out what the existing fabric of the buildings are going to achieve, so we can work out the calculation to give us what we're trying to aim for. And that's what you need for building control to pass it. And obviously you need all these things for building control, so you can get your building certificate, etc., and also your end value for your NHBC lender or somewhat of equivalent. So all these tests are necessary, folks. And again, going back to being a builder, is I need to know what I've got to do to this floor, what makeup I need to do to it to achieve this decibel rating, also to price. Because does it need two layers of insulation? Does it need 3? Does it need 1? Does it need nothing? All that's going to have an associated cost. So again, without the tests, we can't go any further. So there you go. They are the 4 main things that you need to consider when doing a conversion. And I'm now going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough of, this is the before. So obviously we haven't started any work now. We're just getting different tests done, ready. So this is going to become lots of flats. So you imagine all this is going to be completely ripped out. The bars are going to be going. Some of these walls might be going. The floor is going to be going. We've got all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So again, I can see holes here where the asbestos test has been done. Samples of that have been taken away. So not much more to say down here. We've got another room inside here, which has got fridge storage and a bit of a boiler. So again, just quickly, you're not going to recognise this place when we're done, because obviously we're going to be segregating it up into 6 flats, so there's going to be lots of walls put up, ceilings are going to be changed. This is purely just to see the before, to prove what we're doing there, folks. So as we're going through this, we've got the restaurant here. We might save that little sign there. So this is obviously where they used to dine. That's the front of the property outside there. So we've got some fantastic carpets, thing of beauty then. And then we've got all sorts of pipe work and cabling and goodness knows what. And if we go into here, this is obviously the kitchen, this is the catering part. So I believe this is going to be, from the plans, I think it's going to be a bedroom. So the plans are being redrawn in a minute. I'll get those put up somewhere so people at home can see them. So shooting! And I'll take you upstairs now. So we've got a little bit of a landing here above the stairs. Got a landing going down there over the two. So from memory, I think we're going to have, as you come up these stairs, I think we've got one flat's going to be from where my hand is now to the front of the building, and all that space, all them rooms there are going to be knocked together. The same for the back. So anything from where my hand is to the back here, all this is going to become a flat. And if I turn around here, all this space in here is going to become another flat. So we've managed to get 3 flats on the ground floor and 3 flats on the first floor. As you can see, they are quite a big space. So this is the current kitchen. Fantastic flowery wallpaper there. That's the thing of beauty. Looks like a 1950s kitchen. I think this is going to become one of the bedrooms for the rear flat. And then we have this side. So we've got another room. Obviously we've moved this carpet out of the way there for that sound machine, so we don't want the carpet to interfere with what the actual makeup is of the floor. Last but not least, another room. So I can appreciate from the viewer's point of view there, it's just looking like we're walking around a bit of a labyrinth with lots and lots of rooms, because that's pretty much what we've done. And it's hard to sort of navigate where we are because the building is quite of a large nature. So, back of the property. So we've got an alleyway there that goes to the front of the property. So we'll be utilising this for bin storage. We've got a huge flat roof there with a single storage. This was the kitchen that I was stood in. We've then got a building that's been built back here. So because the property has not got a cellar, this is what we use the cellars. This has got all barrels in there and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And obviously you've got the garden, which is quite severely overgrown. So in a nutshell, folks, for this video, that's pretty much it. It's just to demonstrate what the property is like before we started our little magic. And also to give you a little bit of a tip, as you know, these surveys and stuff need to be done so you can be quite accurate with your pricing, and also be a bit more confident when building control at the end that when you come to do your sound test at the end, you should pass, because obviously you know what the fabric of the floor is, etc. And also the same thing for your EPC, so you can put the correct amount of insulation in there. It's all about just checking and making sure, really, folks. Right then. That's it from this video. I'll see you soon, people. Mwah.